This is a comparison of Purina Pro Plan Indoor Care Focus Turkey and Rice Formula, Nulo Meadow Series Grain-Free Adult Salmon and Lentils Recipe, Instinct, the Raw brand Ultimate Protein Cage-Free Duck Recipe for cats, adults, no grain, no animal meal, Only Natural Pet PowerFood Indoor Cat Dinner made with chicken turkey meal, real vegetables and fruits. It's with PowerBoost blend. Hill's Science Diet Adult 1 to 6. No corn, wheat, or soy. Chicken and brown rice recipe. And this one is Purina Cat Chow Chicken Byproduct Meal. And whole grain corn, soy, and flour. Sorry I don't have the bag for this one. It was given to me. And Solid Gold Indigo Moon High Protein with chicken and egg, grain-free, gluten-free. Source, Simply Nurse Source, high protein, grain-free, adult, real deboned rabbit, #1 ingredient, rabbit and chicken recipe. As you can see, my cat has been trying to chew open this bag, and some of the other bags as well. Like, I think this one he's chewed up a bit, and he would chew up that one if he could get at it. He would chew up that one if he could get at it. Okay, so this one and this one are, sorry, the Only Natural and Source, I believe, are PetSmart brands. There are actually two others that I wanted to review with this. Unfortunately, I had to return them. One of them was also by Instinct, and it was called Instinct Raw Duck. And he vomited a lot after he started eating that one, so I returned it and got my money back. And in addition, I told Instinct about it because I was concerned there might be a contamination of the feed. So they sent me a coupon, and I was able to get this one. That one there. I also returned another one, Wellness Core RawRev Original. He just strongly disliked it. Maybe even more so than the first Instinct that I got for him. So I can't give you a lot of information about those two other than to tell you that he didn't like either of them, and the Instinct RawRev made him vomit a lot. There is one of these 8 sometimes makes him vomit. I think it's also the Instinct, but I haven't been able to isolate the problem for sure. However, when I was doing a comparison test with him, he did seem to vomit when he ate the Instinct. So there's something going on with the Instinct products. Now, if you are looking for cat food, make sure that you're trying to find, if it's an indoor cat, find indoor food. Some of these are not actually for indoor cats. Some of these are just kind of like a general cat food, and some of them are specific. Like this is indoor, and I believe this one's, well, some of them are. You'll notice you don't see any of the brands you'll find at grocery stores or at Aldi, and this is for a very specific reason, in that that 99% of the stuff that they have at the grocery stores and Aldi is crap. I would not recommend any of it for your cats. You should be looking for something that has a high degree of protein in it, over 50%, which I haven't found yet, and then maybe 30% or so fat, although it can be less if you're having problems with your cat getting too fat, and then about 11% carbohydrates. Now, it's hard to find that balance. The best I've found are like these and some other ones. I've got an actual list that I'll try to remember to put in the description of this video. But give me a minute here. So let's start by talking about the physical aspect here. So obviously I can't talk about the Purina Cat Chow, but you can go look at the store. Purina Pro Plan and Solid Gold do not come with any kind of a freshness seal on them. The rest of them do. For some of them, like the Hill Science Diet. I believe that's the only one. Oh, and also the Only Natural and the Source. Each of them uses the Velcro locking mechanism for the bag, like that. Whereas Instinct and Nulo only use the standard kind of a Ziploc kind of a lock on the bag. And unfortunately, in the case of Instinct, they didn't do a very good job of gluing it in place, because after several openings, it's separated and is useless now. Now, again, this is indoor care for adults. This one he chewed up because I don't know why, because he usually didn't like the Nulo that much. But this is for adults, so indoor or outdoor. This is also more of an outdoor one, but it can be for indoor cats as well. But he didn't like that one. This is indoor adult, and this one, it doesn't really say, but you can see he really chewed up the bag there. I don't know why. Oh, yeah, it doesn't say if it's indoor or outdoor, so it's kind of like every cat. For this one is one of his favorites, and it doesn't really say, other than it's for cats. And this one also doesn't say. So, of the 10 of them, obviously the RawRev from Instinct and the Wellness Core RawRev original were not good choices, and Instinct also is not he's not fond of this one or this one or this one or that one. He mostly likes the solid gold. Hold on, let's see, what was his favorite? His favorite was the Pro Plan, the Purina Pro Plan. And his second favorite was the Hill Science Diet. His third favorite was the Cat Chow. His fourth favorite was the Solid Gold. And so yeah, that's all the information for that. The problem that I can't determine is why he likes some more than others. I have spent the last few hours compiling information about each of the brands that I'm looking, that I have worked on with my cat, or rather I've used my cat as an experiment to find out what he likes best. Now the problem is that when a cat eats, it has two, as far as I understand anyways, and I'm not a veterinarian, but as far as I understand, a cat has two main drives. One is to fill the nutritional requirements that it has hardwired into its brain. And it has a Jacobson's organ up there that can help it to sniff out food that has what it needs. And thus, if it has like a choice of 3 different foods, and only one of the foods has a something it needs, but it's in a very small quantity, it will consume, I'm told, enough food to meet that need, even if it's a large amount, because it needs that nutrient. So what I do is every day we give him a mix. So we mix 2 different kinds for breakfast, 2 different kinds for lunch, 2 different kinds for dinner. I understand you may not be able to afford buying more than 1 bag of cat food, and but I would suggest that you consider at least having 2. I happen to have 8 at this time, and actually there are 3 Purinas that I've tried. 2 of them I'm not entirely sure what they were. One said Purina Cat Chow Indoor, the other one said Purina Cat Chow Chicken and Egg, but I couldn't know for sure which ones they were on the website, so I have not included them in my analysis. I just mentioned them. The third one was the Purina Pro Plan Focus Indoor Care Turkey and Rice Formula, and that one actually is not on their website, so I think they have possibly discontinued it, which, and it's one of the ones my cat likes the most. So I'll just run down for you in order from number 10, the one that my cat liked the least, that I returned, and that was the Instinct RawBoost Real Duck recipe, and that had both cooked and raw freeze-dried meat in it of different types, and he vomited a lot because of that one, so I ended up returning that one. That was number 10 on the list. Number 9 on the list is Wellness Core RawRev Original High Protein Kibble plus 100% raw turkey liver, and that also has both cooked and raw freeze-dried meats in it. And he really he would just nibble at it even if there was nothing else to eat. So he'd rather like basically get the bare minimum into his tummy than to actually consume it. And I'm not really sure if it just didn't smell good, or if it didn't meet his needs, or what it was. And number 8 was Instinct Ultimate Protein Cage-Free Duck Recipe for adult cats, and that one also seems to have caused, and I'm sure I checked my notes, and he did have some vomiting with that one. I still have that one. I still feed it to him. Sometimes he vomits, sometimes he doesn't. Now, since the only foods that have caused him to vomit are the 2 that have raw food in them, I suspect that the raw food is the problem. Now, keep in mind that when you switch a cat from one recipe or one brand or one type of food to another, you should have a period of about a week of transitioning. So the first day it's mostly the old one and then a little bit of the new one, and each day you're decreasing it until by the 7th day it's all the new brand. Because if you swiftly switch the brands, your cat may not want to eat it, or your cat may have digestive problems because of it. And that isn't how I did things. I mean, sorry, I didn't rapidly switch my cat's brands on him. So in all cases, he had access to 3 or sometimes 4 different brands at one time to choose from. Well, no, I'm sorry. Three at all times to choose from. And then when he consumed all of the other brands, and the only one that was left was the one that had raw food in it, that's when he started eating exclusively that. So the transition was kind of not like what I just described, but there was a transition. So I'm not entirely sure how much of it was a problem with the raw food and how much of it was just the kind of odd way he was transitioned onto it when the other stuff ran out. Because he was eating the 2 Instinct products when he was eating others. He just didn't eat a lot compared to the others. So just to give you an idea, when the first thing I did was Solid Gold, Nulo, and Instinct raw duck, and he liked the Instinct better, I think, than the Nulo actually. But when I did the Instinct Ultimate Protein, he versus Hill's Science Diet and Simply Nourish Source, he preferred the Hill's Science Diet the most, and then Simply Nourish, and then the Instinct, and he really did not eat much, and I think there was a 1 or maybe 2 incidences where he vomited after having eaten the Instinct. So, unfortunately, and the reason I kind of lean toward the idea that it's the raw meat in there that's the problem is because when I was compiling this information, one thing that I noticed is that the RawBoost Real Duck recipe had a lot of meat in it, whereas the let's see, so put it this way, the RawBoost had, in the top 15 ingredients, 12 of those ingredients were meat or meat byproducts, like egg or whey from dairy, whereas the next highest was 9 in the Wellness, and the other one that he didn't like. But when so 12 out of 15 out of a total of 24 ingredients excluding vitamins and minerals. And then when you look at wellness, it was 9 out of the top 15 that were meat. And that was out of, oh gosh, I forgot to count how many that was out of. But that was out of a lot of ingredients. But then when you look at the other instinct, what you see is in that instinct there are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meat products, and out of that, all those 5, only 3 were in the top 15. So it's a huge jump from 12 out of 15 to 3 out of 15, and he didn't like either one of them. And actually, he doesn't vomit much on it, which makes sense because freeze-dried duck is one of the last ingredients on the list of actually, I can't even say top 15 because there weren't 15 non-vitamin and mineral products, so there were only 13 things that fit that criteria. And as a consequence, so 3 out of the top 13, which, I don't know, with the 13th being the freeze-dried duck, I think, or maybe it was the 12th. But anyways, so that was number 10 and number 9, and number 8 was this one. He really didn't want to eat it, and he has vomited a few times because of it. Sometimes he vomits a little, sometimes he vomits a lot. And just so when you look at the other the other instinct, what you'll see is you'll see kibble that looks like, oops, I'm dropping my kibble. He'll be happy. That looks like this. And then there you would see somewhat larger chunks that were a lighter, that were square, and they were lighter colored than that. Okay, so that's number 8. And of course, the Purina Cat Chow looks like this. The other Purina Cat Chow that I had also had multicolored things in it for some reason. And then, as far as I can tell, those are the 3 that really he was not happy with, and I probably should have just returned the Instinct Ultimate, but I thought, well, he doesn't vomit on it all the time. So the next one that he didn't like as much, so I guess we could say this is number 7, is Simply Nourish, which is ironic because he has chewed on most of these bags because they've got melamine in them, so there's protein, and he chews on a lot of plastic. We have to be careful and watch him. So this is number 7, but I would say it's a really close tie between that and the Nulo. He didn't seem to be very excited about either of them. He liked them better than some and worse than others, or less than others, I should say. So those were 7 and 6. And then number 5 was Only Natural Pet PowerFood with PowerBoost blend. And he liked that. He likes this one. It's not like an amazing one for him, but he likes it well enough. It beat out some of the other ones, but you know. And then you could say that those other 2 Purinas, the indoor and then the chicken and egg, those would fit in above the Only Natural. So the one that came before, that, so that would be number 4 basically. So number 3 would be Solid Gold, and this always was a pretty safe bet for him. And I haven't tried the other Solid Golds. I got this one specifically because it had a lot of protein. It also happens to have a lot of fat. So that's number 3. And then number 2 is this one, Hill's Science Diet. And this, if you'll notice, there are 2 Hill's Science Diet adult 1 to 6 with chicken and brown rice recipes. This one happens to be no corn, wheat, and soy. That is, so when you look for it, you're going to have to look for the one that says that, because the other one it has a different cat, I believe, on it. Yeah, it has a different cat on it, and it does not say no corn, wheat, or soy. And so that leaves us with number 1, his most favorite one that he even preferred over the Hill Science Diet, which was the Purina Pro Plan, Focus Indoor Care. And if I remember correctly, hold on, let me just double check something before I speak out of turn here. Okay, I'm sorry. So this is the one that has been pulled that I could not find on the website. I don't know what happened to it. But it's not on the website anymore. Or rather, I should, maybe I should be more specific and say it's on the website, but it's no longer called Focus, and the formula is different. So, those are his preferences. Why they're his preferences, how much of it is because of the other problem aside from nutrients, which would be the taste or the aroma. I don't know what the balance is. I do know that wild cats may tend not to drink a lot, whereas my cat, he drinks freely. He doesn't have any qualms about going to the water dish as long as my kids haven't forgotten to take care of it, and drinking from it quite extensively. He'll just do that for quite some time. So now on to the rest of this. So I looked at these. I was trying to figure out if there is some kind of a clue that I could, that would help me to understand and how or why maybe he liked certain ones over other ones. Okay, so I finished compiling all the information and I looked through it to try and figure out why he liked certain ones a lot, or these three, and why he hated certain ones so much and vomited with these. And there isn't much to go on. It isn't about brand, I don't think, so much as it is about formula. Now, I don't think that what age group it's for is important because we've got adult 1 to 6, and all ages here, and we've got adult and all down here as well. It doesn't matter whether it's indoor or outdoor. It doesn't. There is a weird thing where his top 2 have grains in them, and his top 1 has soy in it. It's a soy protein isolate. So, is that a coincidence, or is this an indication that he was looking for carbs? And also, the soy would, while a protein isolate wouldn't have carbs in it, but this has carbs. So maybe carbs is playing a role. He was looking for carbs. What about strange man-made things in it, like corn gluten meal, soy protein isolate, powdered cellulose, which is a filler? Cat can't digest it, and neither can we. It just takes up space. Nestle's just trying to, get more money for what they're giving by giving less. Then there's pea protein, pea fiber, potato protein, dried whey protein concentrate. These are all things that you're not going to find in nature. What about starchy vegetables? Well, they all had starchy vegetables. This one had 3. This one had 6. Oops, why are my arrow keys not working right? This one only had 2. Isn't that odd? This one had 3. This one had 3. This one had 2. 1, 1. And this one had 3. So there doesn't really seem to be a correlation. Now we could say, oh, it must be peas. Well, there are no peas in this product or this product, but there are peas in this one, and this one, and that one, and that one. So we could say it's tapioca, because there's tapioca here, but there's tapioca there. Maybe it's the carrots. Well, this one has carrots, but these two don't. And there are carrots in that one. So it's really not about the starchy vegetables, although it may be playing a role in his interest in the food. But I don't think so. None of them have byproduct meal, which is organs, internal organs. So that has nothing to do with it. And then if we look at meat content, if we look at the top, these three here, well, these two had the most apparently from the ingredients list, okay? I can only go by what I see in the ingredients list, the order that they provide. That doesn't mean that, you know, necessarily that indicates really how much. I mean, the difference between how much deboned turkey, I mean, there could be like 75% deboned turkey and everything else is the other 25% in the whole list of ingredients, which means there's not really that much meat. There's really no way to know for sure. But Instinct Raw Boost had 12 out of the top 15 ingredients out of the all 24 non-mineral and vegetable, and mineral and vitamin ingredients were meat or animal products. And this one had 9 out of the top 15 out of a total of 16 non-vitamin and mineral ingredients were animal products. But then Instinct, the other one that he also made him vomit, it only has 5 out of the top 13. And it seemed to be it just seems to be kind of a low concentration of meat in there. But then when you look over here, and it's the opposite. There seems to be less meat in these than in these. But wait, cage-free. Maybe it was because some of the meat was cage-free. Well, as far as I could tell, the only ones that had cage-free meat were Solid Gold and this Instinct. So that's not it. He really loved the cage-free meat from this one. But wait. One thing that is interesting here is which of these have duck in them? Well, that doesn't. That doesn't have duck. That doesn't have duck. That doesn't have duck. It has mussels. New Zealand green mussels. That one doesn't have duck. That one doesn't have duck. It has rabbit. That has duck. This one has all kinds of stuff in it, but no duck. And this has duck. So it can't, maybe duck plays a role, but it could be entirely a coincidence. But then, if we look at what kind of food is in the kibble, is it raw and freeze-dried, or is it cooked? Well, all of these, it was cooked, but all of these had freeze-dried food in it, or raw freeze-dried food. So that seems to be a pretty strong indicator that maybe he just doesn't like raw freeze-dried meat. Maybe that's the reason he vomited with both of the Instinct ones, because of the freeze-dried meat. And why he tried very hard to avoid the Wellness Core RawRev. I don't know. I looked through the nutritional information. I didn't see any strong correlations. I mean, it just didn't really look like there was anything going on with that. There's not consistent information for the minerals, and not necessarily even for the 3 vitamins that are often mentioned in the crude analysis, or guaranteed crude analysis. So, but there's no trend. I mean, you've got 400 here, and we got 400 here. We've got 50 right in the middle, and then there's 100, 120, another 100 over here. Taurine, no correlation there. Omega-3s, well, look, that's a 1%. But that's also a 1%. They've got the most omega-3s and the most omega, and all, well, not the most omega-6s, but these two also have the most omega-6s, but this one has the most. I don't think that's a correlation, or let alone a causation. How about the total amount of lactic acid microorganisms? Well, his top 2 didn't have any. But then again, neither did PetSmart Simply Nourish. This one had the least amount of all of them. And there's a gap between Solid Gold and Only Naturals PowerFood as to how much is in there. So maybe he's not excited about having lactic acid microorganisms. I looked at this and I thought, well, it isn't because there's necessarily none, but maybe it plays some kind of a role. This one has lots of bacteria in it. This one only has one type of bacteria. And this one doesn't have that one in it. This one has the same one because it's the same company. This one also has that one. This one has, so there isn't a strong connection that indicates that this is particularly a problem aside from this increase. And then up here it's just to the point where I think after a point it gets to the point where if the LAMs are important in a negative way, you get to a certain number of them and it just doesn't matter. He's not going to like it. Maybe. So that could be a causation. So, and then you can look at the calories. It doesn't really make a difference. Whether or not it meets the AAFCO's cat food nutrient profiles, it doesn't make a difference. So, to me, it looks like there's a weak association between the presence of lactic acid microorganisms and there is a strong one between whether it had raw freeze-dried meat in it. Because all three of the ones he liked the least did. And 2 of the 3 made him vomit. The other one, I may have returned this so quickly that he never got a chance to vomit. But he was just trying to avoid eating it. I mean, he just nibbled at it just barely. So, that's about as scientific as I can get without knowing a whole heck of a lot more about what cats like and don't like and need and don't need. And but I hope that this has given you some thought. I'm going to also give you a list of other products that have high protein and fat in them. So in order to help you, I searched several grocery stores, and I found that with almost no exceptions, going to regular grocery stores like Kroger, Meijer, Aldi, and Big Lots was a waste of time. Instead, I had to go to other kinds of stores that are more interested in providing good food for pets, like, PetSmart and stuff like that. So, not all the ones on this list are actually from those kind of places, but the majority of them are. I found actually some of them in an international market, but so you can see here, and you might want to take some screenshots or something like that. I found 4, and there probably are more. I did not look online because there are so many manufacturers and so many products. I'm sorry, I just was trying to look for what was available for me. You might want to look. I was looking for stuff that had at least 40% protein, and I was looking for stuff that had a fair amount of fat as well. Now you'll notice some variation in this. The lowest one, I think, is this one here with 12.8. And the highest one is over 20. 23.5, I think, is the highest one. So, anyways, you could look for other ones that have 40% or more protein but a lower fat amount. You definitely want to contact your veterinarian if your veterinarian isn't an idiot like my former veterinarian was and said all of them are good. And say, for my cat, should I be looking for a higher fat content in like the upper teens or in the 20s, or should I be looking for a lower fat content? If your cat's got diabetes, you definitely want to go with a lower fat content. Keep in mind that, again, that cats do want some carbohydrates, whether you think it's a good idea or not. Cats do tend to look for that, even though they don't actually, really eat them in the wild. So there's Blue Buffalo, and in general, Blue Buffalo does not have good stuff, but I found some. Crave, Earthborn Holistic, Instinct, and again, I had problems with 2 of their products with the raw stuff in it, which was RawBoost, this one, and this one. So I would not be surprised if this one here, which also has raw in it, and these 2 which have raw in it, would be problematic for some cats, just like mine. Merrick, I only found 1. Nulo, I found those. Only Natural Pet, I found those. Purina, found several, and there are definitely more than that. PetSmart Simply Nourish, only found 2. Solid Gold 2, Taste the Wild 1. I did actually go to Taste the Wild's website, and that was the only one I found on their website that met my criteria. The others were in the 30s and stuff. And then Tiki and Wellness. This is the other one that I had problems with. This is the one that I tried with my poor dear Sherlock. So hopefully this information will be helpful for you. And thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.